Hi, welcome back to Deadly Affirmations, the video book. Today we're going to read the first section of chapter 4 called Hold Your Horses. So if you're ready to begin and aren't bothered by any little commercial interruptions over my right shoulder, we'll start. Okie doke. Chapter 4, Hold Your Horses. It was Friday morning, and Patience rolled over in her bed and slept for another half an hour. Then she called Julie at work and told her that she was taking a mental health day. Abraxas came to sit on her hip. Patience rolled over and hid her head under a pillow. Abraxas tried nudging her back, and when that didn't work, found Patience's hand and bit it. Sick day or not, breakfast was breakfast. Patience and Abraxas had fought this battle before, and the cat always won. After all, Abraxas was a cat, and Patience was simply Staff. Abraxas' Staff got out of her bed and went into the bathroom. When she came out again, her teeth were brushed and her face was washed. Then she went to the kitchen. Abby watched Patience open a new can of Fancy Feast and spoon half of it into her bowl. As Abraxas ate, Patience poured herself a cup of coffee, added a packet of stevia and a dollop of chocolate milk, and sat at the little kitchen table looking out the window and thinking about the weekend. The kitchen needed a good cleaning. The whole house could use a vacuuming. There was cat hair everywhere. There was laundry to be done. On the other side of the ledger, there was an excellent Quebecois band playing at the Richmond Hotel bar tonight. Patience decided that she deserved an evening out, a drink or two, and the opportunity to shake her tail feathers. Tomorrow was another day that she would deal with when it reared its head. Now, before she started her housekeeping, she would treat herself to a run. She found her running shoes, Puma Foss 700s that she had bought a couple of years ago, her hot pink Nike shorts, and her fave heather blue Ociel raglan top over a sports bra that had seen better days, and threw them on, eager to begin. Cat fed and ready to run, Patience locked the back door and slipped her house key into the pocket of her shorts and jogged over to the trails that wound through Gibbons Park. She lived about 3 blocks from the park, and by the time she got to the tall trees that bordered the river that wound through the park, the river that gave River City its name, she was warmed up and ready for her run. She must have run through the park 200 times since she had moved to River City, but the park was so big and the trails so numerous that she seemed to find a new path each time. She ran for about half an hour and found a water fountain next to a concrete bench that overlooked a small flock of the trumpeter swans that had lived in the river since before the first European settlers arrived. Patience stretched and took a long drink from the bubbler. She rested for a couple of minutes, took another mouthful of the cool water, swirled it around in her mouth, spat it out, and took off, back toward her little house. She left the park and ran on to Oak Avenue, 2 blocks north of her home on 2nd Street. It was a quiet residential area, the quiet only broken by an occasional dog roused out of its sleep by her steady footsteps running past. At the corner of Oak and 2nd, where she would turn left for home, she saw Wheezy Hayes, pushing her shopping cart back home from her trip to the market. It had been a good run, and seeing Wheezy just made it all the better. "Patty," Mrs. Hayes called. Patience ran up to Wheezy, and Mrs. Hayes told her, "Give me a hug." There was no arguing with Wheezy Hayes about anything. Patience had learned that over the past 2 years of their friendship. "I'm all sweaty, Wheezy," Patience laughed. Wheezy laughed and held out her arms. "A little honest perspiration never hurt anyone, Patty." The 2 women hugged hello, and when they broke their embrace, Mrs. Hayes said, "You've had a difficult time this week, Patty. Didn't that Daniels man work at your company?" Patience lost her smile at that. "Oh, Wheezy, he was my boss. He got my promotion. I wouldn't wish what happened to him on anyone, but I can't say that I'll miss him." "The newspaper called it a robbery," Wheezy Hayes said. "Do you know any more than that?" "All I know is that they found him in the garage and his wallet and watch were missing. At least that's what Detective Williams said when he questioned me," Patience told her friend. "Detective Williams?" Patience couldn't help but smile. "He interviewed me at work yesterday. He was very professional." "And?" Wheezy asked with the barest hint of a smile. Her interrogation would be much more probing than Detective Williams could ever have been. "And?" Patience couldn't hide her smile. "What was he like, Patty? Come on, tell." "Tall, well-dressed, polite, dark hair, a great smile, and dreamy blue eyes, I guess. I didn't really notice," Patience said with a yawn before dissolving into a fit of laughter. Wheezy laughed along. What are you doing this weekend, dear?" Patience explained her plans to do housework and then reward herself with a night out on the town tonight. Wheezy listened attentively and then asked, "Are you free tomorrow? I bought the makings for a quiche at the market, and I could surely use a friend to help me eat it tomorrow at lunch." "That'd be lovely, Weasley. If I bring you the makings for mimosas, would you help me drink them?" "It's a date, honey. It's a date." Patience and Wheezy Hayes hugged and said their goodbyes until Saturday. Patience ran off down the street toward home, and Mrs. Hayes pushed her grocery cart the half block to her house. Patience took off her running shoes and then tossed her sweaty clothes into the washing machine. Abractus sat in the hallway, licking his paws, and watched the naked woman pour the laundry detergent into the machine and push the button before she walked down the hall into the bathroom and turned on the shower before climbing in.